Hey, let's paint Les Deux Magots, that beautiful place in Paris where all the literati like to hang out and drink coffee. Here's a few inspiring photos that I came across. That one I liked because of the lighting and the umbrellas that were out. And this one I did a few years ago for one of my Paris letters, which are on my Etsy shop, link below. And then I came across this lovely book, Paris in Stride. And the artist did this lovely picture, and I loved the red and the green against the light yellow background. So I took all of that and went, okay, here we go. Let's do this. So I drew up a sketch. You can download it in my Etsy shop or on my website. Both links will be down below. I started with the background and that thick brush. This is a Naples yellow, and it's quite watery, which is exactly how we want it. We're just going over the background. It is fine to paint over the lines because you're going to be painting over it later. So notice I'm adding a lot of water here to this wash. Just going down. I had already taped the sketch to a hard surface. So because it is going to buckle, and that's okay because as long as you keep it taped in place until the whole thing dries, it will iron itself out. Now I'm going to use this beveled little beauty, which I swear I think I've painted like 120 of the 140 Paris letters with. This is a sap green. I'm mixing the sap green with a viridian green, which is kind of an emerald green color, because I want to make what the Parisians call a carriage green, which is what they use to paint park benches and lamp posts and Les Deux Magots. So here we are. Just getting that to be the right consistency. Notice the change, right? It's not quite one, it's not quite the other. And then I'm speeding this up because I think I look more pro when it's all speeded up. Like, look at the skill level of that. Wow, I am just flying through this. In actuality, it took me about an hour to paint it. Notice the white bits and pieces. Leave those. If you're painting along, leave those. I'm adding a little bit of sepia brown here to this green because the building is the same green, but it's a little bit back from the umbrellas. And now I'm painting this awning, which is white, but it's actually shadowed with blue. And I find that blue works better as a shadow than a lot of grays would. It just seems to be a little more magical. So what I do is I put a little bit of blue and then I put a lot of water. And when I put the water on, it kind of spreads it all out nice and neat and tidy. I know it looks like a hot mess. It will dry and you won't even notice this. Like, it's easy to panic. Well, I've got the blue out. Thought I'd paint some windows, get some reflective sky business happening. And while things are drying, painting a few other things. Now this is the point where I used Payne's gray, which is this grayish bluish color. And I thought, oh no, I have seriously messed this up. It's too dark. It's too dark. What am I doing? Maybe it'll be fine. Just keep going. Just keep going, even though I'm a little bit scared. Notice I want the angle to go toward the door. A lot of these cafes have their sidewalks actually pointing to the front door of the front of their cafe. And it's kind of a subtle architectural way to say, come on in. Now I used yellow and orange. Actually, it's a vermilion red to create some sort of Mysterious ambiance inside. Ooh, what's that? All kinds of action is happening. We just don't know what it is. Maybe we should go inside and see. Sometimes I really like a lot of detail in the storefronts because it feels like a treasure chest. And sometimes I want it vague because I really wanted to highlight the umbrellas and the plants in this and not the inside of the stores. And of course, pots, my favorite thing to color. This is a burnt sienna, and I'm also using sap green for most of the plants. But, a little bit of dark sap green, a little bit of light sap green. Depends on if you put a lot of water in it, changes things. While all those things are drying, I'm going back in on the signage and just giving it a little bit of definition. And now, palette. Look at this, polka dots for flowers. But it works. I promise you, it works. I also used this kind of splatter technique. I don't usually like to splatter too much red because it looks like a murder scene. But in this case, like, look at this. I'm barely touching it. I'm like so scared. But I got enough on there. And while all that is drying, I'm going back in again with some of the pen just to shape things up. Signing it, always a reluctant signer, but this is for sale, so people like it. And that's when I noticed, I'd like to add a few more definitions of bricks. So there we go. Now see this bottom bit, the bloom in the sidewalk? I wasn't sure about that. It works because it looks like it's raining out, but I still wasn't sure. So I printed out another one. This is why you print them out. You draw the drawing and then you photocopy the drawing onto watercolor paper and you try again. And this time I went in with a cerulean blue mixed in with the Payne's gray, and it's just a little bit lighter. So I went through this whole process again just to test it. And, they're both nice. In different ways. And this is same artist, same skill level, no time has changed, except two versions of the same thing. So if you decide to paint this with me, amazing! And I will see you in the next tutorial.